Welcome back to Block Stretch Repair YouTube channel. Today we're going to be working on this 1940s Leonard Refrigerator. This thing is from around the 1940s. It's a little later in the 40s, I believe. But today we're going to work on stripping the paint. Now I'm not sure if this is lead-based or not. I'm pretty sure the coat underneath this top coat is lead, but I'm not sure about this top coat that could have been put on anywhere from a decade to half a century ago. Who knows? First things first, we need to take care of this rust on the back of this compressor. It works, but having a rusty compressor is terrifying, because if this thing ruptures, one, we're out of compressor, we also have a bunch of refrigerant going everywhere, and most importantly, it would probably be considered an accident, but if not, the EPA could fine me up to $37,000 for that, so we're not going to have that happen. Let's do some rust conversion to rust convert that to a iron oxide, I believe it's called, and then we're going to paint this compressor so it can't rust any further. I'm going to use some of the rust converter and metal etch that I've been using on the Studebaker to paint onto this. Once that's done, we'll wash that off and we'll pour 15 this because, well, we're basically trying to do what we're trying to do on the Studebaker, and that's prevent rust. I'm going to go grab some pour 15 and we're going to give this compressor a nice lather. And I'll probably paint some other stuff, obviously the stand it's on. I'll probably paint this bottom edge as well. We might end up sanding it down and painting it with the rest of the fridge whenever we do the actual color coat, but for now, I guess we'll paint that with the pour 15 as well. There we go. That looks a million times better and looks way less sketchy than a giant patch of rust there on the back of the compressor. That if it grew anymore, it might go through. So now, hopefully that won't grow anymore, and we should be good to go. So I put some citrus strip here on the top to see what would happen, and for the most part, it didn't do all that much, considering it's been on here for like 3 hours. I put on a patch here of another bottle I found that wasn't quite as ancient, and it has done a lot more in much less time. So I'm assuming my bottle of citrus strip went bad. I didn't know that was possible, but I guess it is. Who knows? So much for their improved formula. Oh. Okay, yeah, I can see it going bad after 20 years. I'm gonna have to get some more of the stuff. I only had enough to do the top half of this side and the other side, so I'll have to get some more to finish this side, the front and the back, and probably for the next layer of paint as well. Got some new bottles of citrus strip. It's pink. Got Pepto-Bismol stripper over here. That was not what I was expecting. I know they changed the recipe, so it's probably gonna suck now, but I guess we'll find out. Some people suggested aircraft paint remover, but that stuff's $80 a bottle. And then I saw some of the reviews saying that they also changed the recipe, and it's also no longer near as good. So I guess we'll try this citrus strip because it's cheaper, and it was available in town. We are gonna try the cling wrap over top of it to hopefully make it last a little bit longer and actually soak in a little bit better. Supposedly that works. I don't know. Haven't tried it, but I guess it's time to try that. And there we have a fully saran wrap fridge. I didn't do the back yet. I did a little test spot. We'll see how it reacts to the paint on the back. I think the paint on the back is the original. I don't think anyone ever actually put any extra paint on that. So we'll see how that works out. But hopefully in a few hours, we'll be able to take off this saran wrap and a good bit of this paint. Ultimately, we're not going to get all of it, I guarantee it, this coat, but hopefully a good bit of it will come off, so hopefully one or two more sessions with this, and maybe a couple spots, we'll get all of this paint off. Just pulling the saran wrap off, got a good bit of the paint off. Let's see what we can do with just a little bit of scraping, because a lot of this is still very loose. We're onto the second coating of the citrus strip wrapped up in here. I did the back here. I wasn't sure how it would react with the refrigerant line, so I taped that up, and I wanted to preserve that sticker the best I could, so I covered that up, but as you can see, this paint is coming right up, so hopefully here in a little bit we'll peel this off and remove the majority of this paint. Hopefully all of it, but you never get all of it. The sides are basically done, well, this side and the top. Over here we still had a little bit left down here where it didn't get the original batch, so everywhere else was a little bit further along than down there. And same with the door, but the door is coming along nicely, so hopefully here, peel all this off and get almost all this paint off. There's a little bit of paint in the L there that we'll have to get out, and these ribbed feet are a real pain to get the paint out of. And now we need to clean up the rest of this citrus strip and leftover paint scrapes, so I think the best bet's going to be to roll this thing out the door and pressure wash it. I've gone ahead and put citrus strip on the last few bits that need citrus strips, so I'm going to let this sit for a few hours, and I'm going to pressure wash it one more time, put it back in, and I guess then we'll sand everything with a light piece of sandpaper just to give the paint something to stick to. Now it's time to actually sand this thing, and we're going to be block sanding it here with a sanding block, obviously, so we get a nice smooth finish. I'm going to go get a respirator and get started. And there we have the entire door sanded. However, you can see a few low spots. Basically, the darker spots are where it's low. Right there is a major one. There's one right on the door, a few small ones, minor ones all over the door, and some pretty deep ones right here. Now, that one right there, we might try and pull out some because it's so big. But the rest of these, I think a little bit of glazing putty will fix them up with just a very minuscule amount. As it turns out, this inner skin of the door, for one, isn't metal, it's some kind of fiberboard, but it's only held in by the outer gasket, one screw that was under a cap right there, and one screw down here that was under the gasket. So, I just have to, that's the screw that was from down there under the gasket. Once I take this screw off, I think the rest of this door panel should come off, and then we can get behind, maybe push out those dents from the inside, and also fix our loose handle. Now I've gone ahead and removed some of the insulation out of here very carefully. Now we need to figure out how to actually remove this handle. It looks like there's some screws under some weirdly sticky black goop here. Let's see if we take these screws off and maybe the ones down here, maybe this whole like chrome plate comes out. I'm not sure. Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff I really want to show you. I just got this thing out, and the reason it's so loose is because the entire pin is completely missing up here. I have no idea how that happened, but then I was like, well, it couldn't have gone anywhere. Sure enough, right there's the original pin. We can reinstall that, and I think we'll be golden there. Also, there's a bit of a gasket here, but underneath that gasket, we can finally verify that the original machine color was in fact white, which it will not be going back to. As you can see, it's just a little pressed pin, and it's actually not terribly worn, so I guess over the past 70 years, it just worked its way out. So I guess we'll put it back in, and it'll probably be just fine for another decade or two. I also made sure to remove that latching assembly so this thing doesn't accidentally lock itself when somebody accidentally closes the door on me. So we're good there. I'm not going to have to do surgery on this thing when I accidentally get locked out of it. The pin is actually still relatively tight. I still had to use a press to push it in. It's got a little bit of movement in it, but, like, it's still more solid of a handle than, like, a modern fridge handle, so I will take it. That's absolutely fantastic. Perfect. Well, one problem solved, I guess. Well, it's better. I turned the dent into two small dents. The issue is it's up below this lip up in here, so it's quite actually difficult to hit accurately with a hammer. But a small amount of glazing putty right there, and that'll not be visible, so I'll take that. That's better than it could be, and worse than it could be, so perfect. Now the major one is this one right here, so let's see if we can punch that out. Okay, it's a tad smaller, a little bit more tapping. Actually, we didn't reduce it much, so a lot more tapping. Now it's time to start filling dents. Again, I'm sure people would mention just pound them out, but one, this steel is rather thick and hard to pound out, and two, I'm really bad at that. So, since they're all just been reduced to small, tiny little imperfections, it's time to take some glazing putty and, fix them. And there we go. All the little imperfections and little dents have been glazing puttied. So once that all dries, we'll take the block sanding and block sand this whole thing again. And I also use the glazing putty to fill a little bit of the rust pitting on the back of this machine. I went ahead and got this drawer primered, then I found some imperfections that we gotta fix up, so once that dries, we'll sand that. Handle's taped off there, obviously. We got the label back there taped off, though it's not in great shape, so we'll see what survives of that. I did not put any sticky stuff on the actual label itself, but we'll see. We got the refrigerant line still taped off. We have the compressor all bagged up and all that fun stuff. We have the Leonard logo all taped off. These were a real pain because I had to tape the sides and everything, so those were real fun to tape up. And obviously, the inside's taped off on both the interior of the door and the interior of the fridge. And it looks like we are ready for a primer. Now, because we are painting on bare metal, I am using a self-etching primer. Since the cabinet is... thinking of arcade machines. Since the fridge is sanded with like 240 grit, or 220 grit, I forget what I use, but since it is sanded, it probably doesn't need the self-etching, but well, yeah, that's what I bought, so it's what we're going to use. And there we go, a fully primered machine. Unfortunately, I ran out of primer, so the very top of this drawer got primered the wrong color. It's also kind of a really misshapen piece of metal, and I wasn't going to spend the time to fully make that perfect, because you don't see that unless the drawer's open, which is why I also didn't mind using the slightly wrong shade of primer, because if that turns out to be a slightly wrong shade whenever I put the color on, who cares? You're never going to see it until you open the drawer. Well, it has color, but I'm not happy with it. I decided to cheap out on color, which you shouldn't do, but I decided, hey, I've had good luck with it in the past. Use a spray paint color and then an actual spray gun automotive clear coat on top. Can save you a little bit of money on these smaller projects where you don't want to have to spend, well, $100 on automotive paint. So I got some spray paint, and I made the goddamn mistake of buying Krylon spray paint. Pretty sure Krylon spray paint is the worst spray paint I have ever used. They have screwed me 3 times now, so I guess that's 3 strikes and you're out. I will never buy Krylon spray paint again. First time was yellow paint, and I threw that up to yellow paint's hard to do. I've had a lot of yellow paint, spray paints not cover very well, so I'm like, it's just yellow paint, it's hard to do. And then I had them discontinue a color on me while I was trying to do a project with it, and I could no longer get that color. And now this paint, it paints so unevenly, it was randomly spurting out white dots. I shook the hell out of these cans, and one of the cans, no white dots. The other 3, tons of white dots. Absolutely pathetically bad spray paint. That is ridiculous. Now, I have a nice, stupidly expensive bottle of automotive clear coat that I was going to use on this. Stuff you mix up, you put it in a paint gun, you spray it on. I'm not going to do that because I don't have faith that I'm not going to strip this fridge down. So what I'm going to do is let this dry enough to put on spray paint, and I have a ton of spray paint clear coat from a store that was clearancing it out. So this thing's just going to get the good old-fashioned duplicolor clear coat, and if I don't like it, oh well. It's the color that's going to be screwed, not the clear coat anyway, because this color is... maybe it'll even out more as it dries, but I highly doubt it. So we're going to throw some duplicolor clear coat on this. If it looks good, great. If it looks shit, well, we'll strip it back down and paint it again, and buy actual automotive paint this time. Ultimately, I should probably just stop, sand it down and start over, but I got like 3 cases of this duplicolor clear coat I gotta use up, so let's just see what's the best look we can get out of this, see if it's gonna look good enough, or if it's gonna be worth just fully stripping it down. Gotta do the same amount of work pretty much either way. It's just get to hopefully maybe see if it's possibly savable with clear coat. One of those things, it doesn't look that terribly bad until you get up close to it and you can start seeing some of the white specks that would just randomly shoot out of the spray paint cans. And again, when the first can started doing that, I'm like, oh, I didn't shake it up enough. So I shook the ever-living hell out of that can, and the following 3 cans, and nothing I did would get it to stop spraying those white specks. Tried spraying at different angles. I don't know if they got a bad mix of paint, but that is absolutely unacceptable from a spray paint company. You know what? I don't hate it completely. It's one of those things, this fridge is gonna get used, so I might as well, I guess, probably use it for a little bit like this, and once this paint gets scratched up, because, well, it's not a mixed clear coat, so it's a lot softer of a clear coat than a professional automotive clear coat would be, and obviously the paint is not so great. So it's one of those things, once it gets scratched up, maybe we'll strip it back down, do a little bit better job of the prep work. I see a dent I missed, a couple dents I missed actually, but you know what? I don't hate it. I went ahead and peeled off the tape because I don't want the paint to fully cure, and then I peel off the tape and it chips off the paint, which is why I didn't bother taking the tape off the refrigerant line. I'll wait till it fully dries and then I can take that off because it's not going to take any paint off with it that matters. But as you can see, we got our label there that I saved, and we got our handle on that. And we also have our fridge door handle, which I also went ahead and painted when I was painting the fridge. So that'll mount in right in there, and that will look absolutely fantastic, I think. You know what? The paint is growing on me. Had it been a flawless paint job, I would have been scared of accidentally scratching the fridge while using it. Now, I don't really care that much. It looks really good until you get really close and then you see it's terrible. You know what? I don't hate it. It's not as uneven looking as it is on camera. The lighting kind of makes it look a little less uneven. You can see my shadow and the shadows of all this junk behind me in the clear coat, which makes it look a lot less even than it is. I'm not saying it's even, but it's not quite as uneven as it looks in camera. Now, I don't hate it. I don't like it, but it's something that definitely looks a lot better than the brushed on white paint that it had before. And this way, when somebody inevitably scratches the hell out of it using it, I don't really care, because it's not a perfect paint job to begin with. Now, we'll need to find something to use for a door seal. I don't know if they make the replacement door seals for these. I'm gonna kind of guess not, but I'm sure I'll be able to find something to use as the door seal. That probably will not be an issue. I'm very confused as to what these 2 bolt holes on the top were for. I don't know if they expected you to anchor this to something, or if they wanted you to anchor something else to this, or what in the world those bolt holes are for, but clearly they're just a threaded bolt hole. They look countersunk. There's no bolts in them, so I'm assuming they're not supposed to be in them unless they're mounting it to something, but I don't know. Kind of weird. It's technically not 100% done. We do need to actually rewire this thing, but I'm not worried about that. That's something I'll do once this paint cures after like 48 hours or whatever it is. But I know originally I was saying I need to rewire the entire thing, and probably should, but I really can't. Wires are run up in the walls, and I can't disassemble. I probably could, but I don't want to disassemble the walls because I'd probably have to drill out some welds and break some stuff. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is replace this power cord And everything else is probably fine. There's nothing like obviously wrong with it. Like, I mean, yeah, where there's high stress, there's a little bit of cracks in the insulation there. We might put something over those, but for the most part, as long as it doesn't get touched, I'm sure the wiring's probably gonna be fine. But if you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Then maybe I'll be able to afford actual automotive paint, and future restorations will go a little bit better than this one did. But again, while I say that, this thing looks a million times better than it did, and from a few feet away, it looks really, really good. Then you get close and realize, yeah, no, that's really not that good.